Hey guys, so I saw Rhyme and Nano's video discussing the implications that Ultra units could have on the future of the game, so I thought it would be a good idea to sort of jump into the discussion as well to get my own ideas and opinions out there. And I'll leave a link to both the videos in the description down below so you guys can check that out. But generally, when I sit down to record a discussion-based video like this, I do it generally because it's about a topic that I'm either excited about or because I want to inform you guys about certain tips or tricks, regarding, whatever I'm talking about, like my breakdown videos that pretty much are weekly at this point, or the one discussion video I did about, which unit to pick with your anniversary ticket, the free ticket they gave out. But this time it's different. This time I am making this video for the sole purpose of letting you guys know, sort of, well, not even just letting you guys know, but also letting Toshi know, letting the whole development team know that they need to be very, very extremely careful with how they handle summonable Ultra units in this game. So first of all, coming from me, somebody who's invested among the most, if not the most, resources out of anybody who plays this game, I can bring a certain perspective to my opinions on how the game operates. And so for example, my outlook on how the development team deals with issues, implements new mechanics, etc. is going to be different than somebody who is completely free to play. So before we even dive into the discussion in depth, please just be aware that everyone has their own thoughts and opinions on things, and I'm about to lay out mine. So compared to a lot of other games, Dragon Ball Legends is a game that, at least I would argue, has done a pretty good job of listening to player feedback and improving on certain aspects of their game. And obviously there are certain areas where they have not done that at all. They've actually done the exact opposite, where they have not improved at all. I think one of the biggest offenders of this is like co-op, where they've literally not touched the mode at all since it came out like almost 2 years ago now. But I think broadly speaking, their ability to listen to player feedback and criticism and act on that to improve the game in different areas, I think actually is, for the most part, a really, really positive aspect of the game. And I think they've done a pretty good job in that area. The reason why I bring this up is because we just had a survey for the 3rd anniversary. We had 2 surveys. We had one in the beginning, and we have the second half now that's currently live. They do listen to feedback. So if you have something to say about any aspect of the game, you're concerned about this, concerned about that, you're wondering when this is going to be updated, when they're going to fix this problem, make sure you put that down in the survey, because I do know that they read through all the surveys. So that's definitely a way you can make sure that they're understanding and knowledgeable on certain topics you want them to look into. But 3rd anniversary, I think overall was largely a success. Contrary to what most people would say, I think. Well, not most people, but I've seen a lot of people being honestly pretty negative about it. I think it was pretty good. The significant flaws that I saw coming out of it came from Part 2, which I had my issues with Part 2, but overall the anniversary I thought was pretty decent. But the game is now over 3 years old, which when you're talking about a mobile game like Legends, there has to be dynamic. They pretty much do weekly updates, keep the game fresh, to maintain a solid flow of revenue coming in, which, remember, you have to keep in mind, this is a business. Businesses are always prioritizing revenue over everything else. That's priority number 1 for a business, is revenue. That sort of brings us to the topic that I want to discuss at large in this video, which is the concept of summonable ultras and how they can impact the future of this game, honestly, pretty negatively. So we have 2 current ultra units in the game right now that are both free. Obviously Namek Goku and Namek Vegeta from the Kuwa fight, the very hype moment, one of the hypest moments in all of Dragon Ball, when he dirty fireworks and blows up Kuwa, sure. I think the release of Goku was awesome, personally. Ultras were sort of this new, fresh thing when they came out. They looked awesome. The sort of like the intro screen looked really cool. The black and white thing, all the animations in the game were really cool looking. Fan favorite character with, Goku transforming to Super Saiyan for the first time on planet Namek. And then they released Vegeta. To me, when I saw Vegeta, with his reused animations, I was expecting to see, a new key charging animation, a new blast animation, a new clash animation, but what I ended up getting was just a copy and paste from Goku. So when I saw that, I almost completely lost all hype that I had for not even just Vegeta, but for all future Ultras. If they're all going to be copy and pasted animations, then what's the point? Because when they initially talked about Ultras back during that video and stuff, when Goku released, they were, initially marketed as being unique in every way. Like, they would have, per unit, would have unique animations. And so, number 1, that leaves me extremely disappointed just in general with how they handled the Ultra characters. And number 2, it just leaves me very distrustful of what the devs are talking about. So if they say something in the future, how am I supposed to know if they're going to keep to that when we've already seen them break that promise with these Ultra characters? So we'll see moving forward from here how they handle this, but It's possible this is just Vegeta, and all the other Ultra characters moving forward, including free-to-play ones, will be unique in some way. But imagine if we get like an Ultra Cell next or something, and Ultra Cell has the same animations as Goku and Vegeta. How annoying would that be? How dumb would that be? I don't know. But I don't know. Even before we get into the summonable version of these Ultra characters, I already don't really care much about them, is the point I'm trying to make with this. Like, if they're all going to be the same, if they're all going to be just sort of glorified Sparkings, which I definitely agree with classifying them as that, then I don't really understand what the hype's about for these characters. So the next thing to talk about here is the summoning system in this game. Something that I have, quite a bit of personal experience with, by the way. And this actually might come as a surprise to a lot of people watching this, but I actually hate summoning. I hate gacha mechanics. I've never liked them at all. My first gacha game was Dokkan, and I just didn't play the game for any gacha aspect. I mostly played it for the gameplay. It was just, I viewed the gacha aspect of the game and the summoning aspect of the game as a necessary evil to get to the gameplay. And that's similar to how I view it in Legends as well. You can call me a hypocrite or whatever you want, oh, you always 14-star units. The fact of the matter is I don't enjoy summoning for LFs. I don't enjoy summoning for LRs and Dokkan. I don't enjoy gacha mechanics, period. I think they're predatory for an app that's marketed as a game for kids. They're teetering on the brink of being gambling. So long story short, not a proponent of gacha mechanics whatsoever, and I never have been. And the funny thing about that is I would actually argue that the summoning system in Legends at one point in time was actually pretty good. Going back to the very early days of the game, they used to be extremely generous with how they handled certain things, including literally selling you summonable characters directly to you in the shop, providing guaranteed sparking tickets through adventures. Like, this game used to be very generous, really generous, and it's pretty obvious that they were a bit too generous because they've since then tailed it back heavily. They've cut back on their outlook pretty much across the entire game in terms of how generous they are with rewards and stuff like that. But ever since the concept of Legends Limited sort of was introduced to the game, that's really when things started going downhill, I think. And Legends Limited rate is pretty much the single biggest pile of BS in this entire game. And I always have been extremely vocal about how much I hate the Legends Limited rate in this game, because it just locks so many people out of being able to have fun with these characters. And I've always disliked their philosophy on the exclusivity on Legends Limited characters. And I just never liked it at all. And I can already see the comments coming in, oh, you always 14-star every new unit, you're such a hypocrite. I'm somebody who's always been sort of like a collection freak that needs to have absolutely everything perfectly completed. So that's sort of where that mindset stems from. But just to be completely honest with you all, and I don't even mind talking about this publicly on my channel here, but a lot of it is for YouTube's sake. A lot of it is for the purposes of the videos to perform well. The fact of the matter is, when there's 7 red stars on the thumbnail, the video just does better most of the time. So anyway, going back to how bad the summoning system is in this game right now, it seems like every step-up banner comes out with some sort of downgrade when compared to the previous iteration of the step-up. And we're currently at a point where I don't even feel comfortable calling these banners step-ups, even though they're labeled step-ups in the game, because the steps don't even differ from one another. You go from step 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, there's no difference. They're all 1,000 crystals. They all give you a ticket. Like step 3 gives you EXs, but that's it. Like, there's actually no difference, and there's no step up to the next level to get you a better reward for summoning. So I don't know why they would even call it a step up, because it's not a step up. It's just not. Like, it's just a flat banner. But that's it. And at least to me, they're clearly trying to slowly ease people into a position to where they could just drop a summonable ultra unit with, I don't know, 0.2% rates. And something horrible like that, and people would buy it. People would buy that. I firmly believe right now, if they came out with an ultra unit summonable, 0.2% rates, people would summon for it. I think people would just be too mesmerized by the animations, the flashy intros, the quote-unquote unique animations, and they would just be too incentivized to spend to pull a copy or 2 of them. And so the point I'm trying to make with this, basically, is that the quality of banner in general in this game has pretty much declined since the release of the game. I mean, it's only pretty much gone down. It's pretty much been a declining slope, right? Think about the original Black Friday banner that came out with Super Saiyan 3, Goku Black, and Majin Vegeta. That banner was ridiculously good. Like, we've never seen another banner like that since then. A lot of these step-ups are, they used to be good. I would argue that the one we just got for the anniversary was actually pretty bad compared to the old ones, so I don't know, it's just disappointing to see. So, it's only natural to believe that the quality will continue to decline. And that brings us to Summonable Ultras at the end of the day as sort of their ultimate end game strategy to sort of squeeze people out of their money before the game dies. At the end of the day, that's pretty much it. Let me ask you guys this, actually, and I want you guys to respond in the comments below. If Summonable Ultras came out, and I'm personally willing to bet money that we could very, very well see our first Summonable Ultra by the end of the year. I think New Year's is a perfect time for them to release a Summonable Ultra if they're going to do it at all. Would you be surprised if the first Summonable Ultra unit came out and the rate was 0.2%? Let me know down below what you guys think. Would you be surprised? The other point I want to bring up is the fact that this is a PvP-based game that has a summon system that is as bad as it is. And that does not, let me tell you, that does not bode well for the future of Summonable Ultra units, assuming that the rates are going to be as bad as we think they will be. I mean, we could take a look at the new Revival LF Gohan as sort of like a precursor or example of what we could potentially see in the future, but at a much grander scale. This Gohan is has a 0.5% pull rate. That has pretty much been the standard new LF pull rate that we've seen since Gogeta and Broly released in December of 2020. There is such a massive difference between like a 3 to 6 star Gohan compared to like a 10 star Gohan. When you get to the red stars, like the stats just balloon up very, very quickly. So the stat difference is very, very noticeable when you're playing in the top ranks of PvP, and most people you fight in those top ranks of PvP have the characters at 7+ stars. So even LFs, and I feel like that's really if you want to be competitive with the game, that's the level that's the level of stars you're going to be looking at to be competitive at that level. So when you take that into consideration, if Ultras are going to have the same or lower rates, honestly, I probably even should. I would be very surprised if they had the same rates as LFs. But if they have lower rates than LFs, that means you're going to have to put that much more money into the game to obtain these units at a level where they'll be viable and usable in the top ranks of PvP. For instance, let's take a look at Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Right, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta literally just came out. He's the headlining LF unit, the main, star unit of the anniversary this year, the 3-year anniversary. If you have Gogeta at 2 stars, are you really expecting to go into PvP on the top ranks and compete with the Zenkai 14-star teams? The answer is no. You cannot compete with that. So think about an Ultra unit. If the Ultra unit has half the rate of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and you pull them once, that's already an accomplishment. But you're going to take them into PvP and have just a terrible time because you can't compete with these Zenkais and 14-star units. Like, it's not fun. So, what I'm trying to say is, when you're talking about the summon system in this game in comparison with how that interacts with the PvP system, it's not going to work once they introduce these Ultras and they have like 0.2% rates or something, whatever they're going to have. 0.25% even, I think, would be bad enough. So, PvP being the lifeblood of this game, it's going to discourage even more people from playing it. And I think one of the bigger problems this game has right now is that so many people don't want to play PvP because there's so many problems with it, lag, matchmaking, people not being able to compete because they just have no luck summoning. It's just there's a lot of issues with it. And the last thing they need to do in this game right now is to add another barrier to entry for these players to be able to compete with, long-standing people who've been playing for a long time. If you summon an Ultra character, that's, eventually going to happen, you want to be able to jump into PvP and actually play the game without getting shut down. But then the other question then adds on to that, where it's like, how do you balance a 2-star unit to be competitive with like a 13-star unit, which is not going to be possible, obviously, but they're going to have to find some sort of balance for that. So, if you guys think that this game's pay to win right now, just wait. They're going to crank that up to 10 real quick once they introduce Summonable Ultras here, because you got to understand how, because the lower the rate gets, the better the unit has to be to compensate for that, right? And that's sort of how the pay to win aspect of this game comes about, because LFs, the rates are not fun. Gohan is not fun to pull. No LF is fun to pull. Well, I mean, it's fun when you pull them, but it's not fun to summon until you pull them. Trust me, it's not. So I think at the end of the day, I just want them being the developers and Toshi, and I want you guys to understand as well the implications that this could have on the future of this game if they don't take a step back and look at sort of how the potential for Summonable Ultras has on the future of this game in a negative way. Because the way I see it right now, Summonable Ultras are sort of the end game for them. This is just the main moneymaker for them that they can use to cash out before, I guess, everything comes to an end. So all we can do is hope that they hear us, listen to our feedback, and criticism, and I guess we'll just see what happens at the end of the day here. I don't I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you guys thought about my sort of rant here, and I will see you guys all in the next one.